Chrishon. So, can we get real and have some honest conversation? Are you prepared to have an honest dialogue with me?
I was born real. Let's
Okay,
do it.
okay.
What?
So
What we
so
got?
I say that, and I'm gonna just tell you right now, the goal is not to get you in trouble. Even though you are your own boss, right? I know that you have tens and if not hundreds of thousands of little bosses by way of customers, right? So, I want to be sensitive to the topics that I wanted to address today. But forgive me if I sound a little crass, but I
Oh
don't
gosh.
know any other way how to ask this question. So I'm gonna just come out and say it. What's going on with white people nowadays, man? Like what is happening with white people in America? Okay, like can you give me some insight? Okay, because I don't know, man. It just things are feeling a little weird right now, and I don't know if you're sensing something in the air, but some people in some pretty high up positions, man, are really having some. I don't know, man. Like, I mean, all right, let's just get right into it. The DEI stuff, man. Like, what's happening with this DEI stuff, man? Like, what's your take on it? Well, let's start there. Give me your insight about just how you feel about DEI.
I have so much to say. You know how like there's this meme with like Elmo, and it's like
Right.
Elmo's fire, right? He's just like, what is happening right now? This has been the most frustrating situation
Mm,
based upon lack of knowledge. People think that DEI equals helping Black people that lack the ability, the capability, and the resume by pushing them forward above everyone else.
right.
So we are unqualified getting positions, getting contracts, getting RFPs based on our race. I
Right.
honestly believe that's what the majority of people believe that to be, what DEI is. When facts show, but people don't like the word facts
Oh,
anymore.
listen, it's there. There is an attack on facts right now.
Yes, yes,
A
facts, just
whole civil war on facts is
facts.
happening right now in America.
So we might as well just say I saw a unicorn crossing 79th and Stony Island yesterday. It was a straight up unicorn. It was white with the luscious hair and it was moving like ever so slowly and it was just
Right,
galloping on Stony Island. I might as well just
right.
say that, right? And
Hmm.
that means it happened. That just means it
Right,
happened. Thus,
right.
like, thus saying that DEI is for Black people that aren't qualified and we're just given things. That's what it's about. When
Hmm.
facts show that white women benefit off of DEI more than
Hmm.
any other group.
Hmm.
So it's frustrating. And the way that I used to explain it all the time is the DEI program, certifications, opportunities are as simple as just getting the chance to sit at the table. No one
Hmm.
has ever given me anything. Ever.
Hmm.
But for me have to have the opportunity to pitch, for me to have the opportunity to be considered, that's what DEI gave to me. Because another fact is that minority businesses, and I'm talking about businesses specifically, are the lowest funded businesses. So we don't have the money, we don't have the backing. We are looked at as more of a risk than any other group. So the fact that I can at least get the opportunity to sit at the table to pitch, I don't just get a contract. I don't just get a money because I'm a DEI hire or a DEI contract or a DEI business. Doesn't work like that. So it's beyond frustrating to see that everyone's eliminating DEI programs based on they're concerned about the pushback from others. I just
Right.
started McDonald's. What are you talking about? What are we talking about?
Okay, so like let's dig into that a little bit more, because I guess that's what I'm curious to know. Because what do you think it's all about, like, for real? You know what I'm saying? Do you think that they are being honest and transparent in what this is really all about? Like, do you think it is what it is at face value? Do you think that they are attempting to capitulate to a growing sentiment? I'm and how do you see this all playing out? Because I've been having conversations about this, just or starting to have conversations about it. But one of the things that I find to be just one of the most mind-numbing thing is when you look up the percentages of how many Black people work for these organizations, it's already under 5%. Okay. So more than likely, all 5% of your employees were not all DEI hires, right?
Thank you.
So you're eliminating these programs. Essentially, what they're gonna do is remove like three niggas from working there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it does it really warrant a full-on like campaign from all the major tech corporations? Like, I'm really trying to understand, like, what's really at play with this. You know what I'm saying? Because I almost feel like they're being more vocal about the removing of the programs than they were in the institution of the programs. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I'm like this campaign feels like there's something else that is happening at play that I can't 100% put my finger on. You know what I'm saying? But it's got my spider, senses tingling. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, this can't be what it is at face value. You know what I mean? And the fact that they are just coming in from all over, it's like you would think that there were 50% of the organization was being overrun by Black and brown people.
Right.
And
All
I'm like,
DEI hires. Right.
I
Right.
literally had to look up some statistics. Facebook 2022, literally 4.9% were African American.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Mm-hmm. Right.
mean? So it's like in 1/3 women,
Right.
2/3 were white men.
Yes.
Y'all,
Yes.
y'all are already winning heavily. You know what I'm saying? Like, they like, look, we don't even want the 5%.
Heavily.
I'm
Right.
trying to figure out like what is this the scapegoat for? You know what I
It's
mean?
funny,
Is this a distraction?
I think it's a scapegoat for. I'm going to say I'm going to take many different angles with this. It could simply be the general public saying, "Y'all have had enough. We've done enough for you,"
Mm, mm.
and it goes back to the civil unrest in George Floyd.
Right, right.
During that time, when it came to businesses, there were grants left and right. There was opportunities left and right. There were people that felt some type of way that they needed to help because of their privilege. We're watching this man die. We're watching this video of him actually dying. And okay, we feel bad right now. So we're going to jump in and help. So
Mm,
I feel like it became a fad. There was, and I hate to put it that way, but it's like we were hot right now at that point.
mhm,
It was hot to help Black people.
mm.
It was hot. So
Interesting. Okay.
then it's like, all right, then there started to be situations where there was Asian hate. So then that was hot right now. So eventually I'm like, oh, okay, so enough. It was, and I don't know who they is, who is the one who said enough. So now we don't want to support minorities at all and whatever it looks like. And oh, got it. The biggest thing that people were paying attention to during that time, during civil unrest, during COVID, was DEI. Those particular divisions were reaching out to businesses like myself, and they were helping. They were saying at that time, what can we do? I was being contacted more than ever during that time. And they were saying, in so many words, I'm sorry. Okay, now I will test your product because I Googled Black women in wine and
Mm.
you popped up. So I think honestly, we were just a fad at that point. Now,
So
what
so
do
that's
I
interesting because I didn't really consider it from that perspective of um it being in vogue. Okay, because I heard you kind of invoke two different things with what it was that you just said, or at least it two different thoughts kind of hit me. It was that one, and then also is what we're noticing a repudiation of maybe white guilt that they were feeling, right? Like, so white guilt is what was driving the compassion, so to speak, the compassion, which
absolutely.
which was really nothing more than charity, but to your point, maybe they were utilizing it in a sense of um maybe they were utilizing it in a sense to say, I want to appear as if we are not tone deaf. So it was really just one big PR move from jump. It really wasn't an awareness. And they're attempting at saying, hey, listen, we're listening. This was shocking and we want to grow from this. It was never really that, right? Like and not to say that I was so naive that I just 100% believed it, but you did see so much solidarity from everyone globally that it was
Yes.
one of those situations where it did kind of make you, kind of feel for a moment like, oh, wow, like maybe this is as tragic and as horrific as that was to watch. Maybe this is really something that can be used to stem, growth and some healing in a very significant way, right? But
Absolutely. I
but
imagine that
but
old school.
now what this is showing me is, were they always aware that nah, let's just put on for it because everybody else is doing this and we don't want to look like we're insensitive. You see what I'm saying? Kind of like how I hear that after super rich and wealthy people have literally bought everything, they own every yacht, there comes a point where money is no longer a flex because you can buy everything. So then what they start doing is diving deep into philanthropy. And this philanthropy really isn't about just some altruistic urge that they're attempting to fulfill. It's really more about a flex, right? Oh, well, let me show you how much money I can give away. Oh, well, when I die, none of my kids is getting any of it. I'm giving it all to charity. Not really charity, my foundations that are still being run by my trust. However, you know what I'm saying? Look at how much money I'm giving away. So then that becomes the new flex, right? So, like, this is nothing more than an extension of that. It was never really about an atonement. It was more about, like I said, just PR. I want to appear as if I care, so
Yes.
that we don't have to suffer the consequences of potential backlash of being tone deaf, because it
And
seems
let
like
me
globally everybody's looking at this and we got to not look like Derek Chauvin. Oh no, can't look
and
like him. So
right.
here's some money to
and
pacify you
and
guys.
there and there are facts to that. So I'll
Mm,
tell you one thing. What I was hoping that was happening, because there's always hope for in back of my mind, was
mhm.
when it happened. I thought of that old, I think it was a Coca-Cola commercial with, I like to teach the world to sing
Okay.
in perfect
Mhm.
harmony, right? So I'm thinking everybody sees it, right? We saw it with our own eyes.
Right.
So is this opening up everyone's eyes to see this is real? This is
Mhm.
real. So there was one part of me that thought that. There was another thing that happened where, when I was getting the attention from people that I had never gotten before in my business because they were looking for Black women in wine, came to a point where my people were contacting me to an accelerated amount,
Mm.
that the people that were truly intentional and really had guilt and really felt sorry for the situation would even start the emails off with, I'm sorry.
Mm.
Then, which I find interesting, was the power of the share button. So there were so many customers, new customers, that were sharing Love Corkscrew that never shared my company before. And one in particular inboxed me and said, Because my thing was, when these large followings on Instagram and things were sharing, I would reshare. And I remember one inboxed me and they said, "Hey, do you know that the company that you just reshared really is just using you and using this
Mm,
moment for a PR move? I
mm.
just want to tell you that I'm
Interesting.
truly intentional. I truly,
Mm,
bought from your website, or I truly, introduced your brand to followers. But just so you know, I know this is not what you think it is."
mm.
And I actually believed that individual, because for
Interesting.
you to inbox me that, and then when I went down the rabbit hole and really was looking through that page, I'm like, oh, this is some type of either shell, or you're really not. You're really not trying to help. You
Mm,
are just doing a PR move to say you did it. So I
mm,
will say that there were some that I dealt with personally, individuals that had skill sets that I had never been privy to before, and never had the opportunity, because I did not have the financial means to hire. They were like, you know what? I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm guilty. I just have white guilt. I'm a white male who gets everything. One, I am, kid you not, said to me, he said, "I have never had to worry about a bill
mm.
ever in my life. Never."
And as we are having this
So
conversation, I'm worried about at least 8 or 9 of them.
several bills I'm worried about. Several
You
bills.
know what I mean?
Several.
Like concerned. Okay.
Right, right, right. And we're talking like to function, not like, oh, I ran up a Neiman Marcus credit
Right.
card for
Right.
this
Right.
Gucci bag.
Right.
No, no,
Uh,
to function. And but
right.
when he said that, in that same breath,
Mm,
he said, "So I'm going to donate my services to you right now."
mm.
And he helped me for months. He helped
Okay.
me turn my business into something I had never ever had the opportunity to turn it into. So my point is, there were some who were very, very, very intentional and really cared about the situation, and really were completely tone deaf and didn't
Mm,
know. They just didn't know. Kind of
mhm.
that naivete where you have
Right.
to not feel so negative against their naivete. They just didn't know. That they just don't
Right.
know. But
Mm,
then, yes, I believe there were some that it was just the cool thing to do at the time. And so now, to the long of that is what do I think is going to happen? I think in these 4 years, I think this is going to continue to get worse, and whatever that's going to look like. And I don't know, with the lack of DI hires that are going to happen now, with possible departments that are getting taken away within these corporations because they were solely there, for supplier diversity and inclusion. What's going to happen? But then I think, on the flip, after these 4 years, is it just going to go back to the way it was? Are we going to have
mm,
a different perspective? And when I say we, just in general, are all of a sudden these departments are going to come back depending on who becomes the next president? I don't know.
mm.
But I just think it's a thing right now. I don't think it's going to be something that's going to last.
So one of the things that I find to be kind of interesting about it, and this is what for me is going to be what I'm going to be on the lookout for, and to be very honest, like this, I feel like everything about this is much ado about nothing, but then it's very significant on a few different levels, right? So I'll start with just the obvious, which is I think it's absolutely ridiculous that any organization that is, especially an organization like technology that's supposed to be all about innovation, is now pretending as if diversity is not at the foundation of innovation, right? The ability to think outside the box, the ability to be able to pull from experiences and a knowledge base that's not that of your own. One of the things that I would always say, even just like clients, like if there were 13 strawberry sodas on the shelf and you were creating a product, why would you want to be the 14th strawberry soda, right? Like, wouldn't you want to be grape?
Right.
Even if strawberry was the most popular one, why would you not want to diversify just so that you could broaden, people's horizons or provide them with something different. I find it to be incredibly hypocritical of these organizations to even be taking these stances, knowing that every time an organization gets into trouble, right? Like let's even take sports, for instance, right? They didn't want to let Black and brown people participate in professional sports until their team started sucking ass. And then all of a sudden they were comfortable with integration, right? It's almost like right when they start losing, you even see this on networks, right before the networks, shut down. What do they start doing? Bring in the Black people to create Black programming. We used to see it all the time in Chicago. Right before a venue shuts down because they're no longer popular, then they start opening up to African-American people and ride out for another 4, 5, 6 years, probably having way more popular, nights than what they had before. So it's almost like, why do you have to get to a space of desperation before now all of a sudden it's time to think outside the box, right? Now all of a sudden it's time to throw spaghetti against the wall and innovate, right? Then all of a sudden you understand the value of innovation when you have no other options at your disposal. So that's where I call out bullshit. That's where I see the hypocrisy in this state of mind of now all of a sudden I don't recognize the value that diversity adds to an organization, even just from an ideation and an innovation perspective. Why would you want to have 20 carbon copies of the exact same thing offering you the exact same insights? It just does not even make sense from a logical perspective. That's why I'm like, I really believe when you're talking about 4 years and the next administration, no, I think they're about to start feeling this shit a lot sooner than they think. I'm talking by midterms, right? There's something that I feel that I cannot really explain. I can't break it into something that is that's not anecdotal. I don't have any factual data-based proof about what it is that I'm about to share. This is just a belief that this is going to blow up in their faces. And I don't know how. But just remember that I said that today, that this is going to blow up in their faces and they will regret it. I don't know how. Maybe it is that, enough Blacks will recognize what this is and stop attempting to perform for them and then really start to create our own companies, our own organizations, our own social media platforms, and then thrive. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm really trying to see what happened. Like, one, how far are they going to go with this? But then two, what's going to be our response, right? Because I don't know. It just, and it's funny because I've seen some organizations push back, like Costco. They've pushed back assertively, and so has Apple, right? Two companies that have seen the benefits of diversity. That's what's like blowing me about Facebook. It's like, Facebook, you all were the ones that started the whole innovation type of thing as it relates to social media, right? Now all of a sudden the 4.9% is creating it. Like, they literally, Mark Zuckerberg just went on Joe Rogan talking about how there's not enough masculine energy or some nonsense he said in Facebook.
It's like we have a voice now. So because of the new administration coming in now, all of a sudden we can speak, and that's how I feel what's happening.
Who's we though, Chrishon? He's a fucking nerd. What are you talking about? Like, that doesn't even make sense to me. He's not the tough guy, right?
At all.
Now all of a sudden he's hiring Dana White to be on his board. It's like, bro, you and Dana White never exist together. Y'all don't kick it at the same places.
Now
bro, you still look like you 13 and you almost 40. Now all of a sudden you want more bro energy up in his face. Dude, what are you talking about, bro?
Because now they're chest hair. They're tapping into what they never were, right? It's almost like now in their mind, they're hanging with the cool kids, just like Elon Musk. Even Bezos, right? Like, all of a sudden the cool kid in their mind gets elected. So now we can be who we want to be, hang where we want to hang, go to the cool places like Mar-a-Lago. We can do all these things now. So my challenge to them is, in general, and when I say them, the people who want to get rid of DEI and whoever they are, because there's some Black folks who agree with them, unfortunately. Okay, if this is the case, then what I want you to do going forward when it comes to applications, I want you to take the race off completely. I want you to
Mm,
take that off completely. Don't
mm,
ask me what nationality.
mhm.
Don't ask me if I'm male or female. Don't ask me any of those questions. If you really want to move forward with that, let's go ham. Take that completely off so everyone has a complete even playing field. No problem. If you're going to do it, do it. Because still there's a part of me that's saying, because I'm choosing the race and my gender on this application, possibly you're not hiring me because of that. Possibly you're not. Possibly you're going straight to that and saying, and again, possibility, I don't want a Black woman leader.
But see, you know what? And I find that to be a little disingenuous too. Like now all of a sudden it's all about meritocracy. And it's like, okay, when I went to business school, literally the first thing that we learned was that who you know was more important than what you know. Like that has been part of business ethics since the beginning
Forever.
of time, that
Forever.
that you network your way into your
Yes.
network is your net worth. Like we've always understood that knowing people was way more beneficial than having knowledge. You know what I'm
Always.
saying? So
Always.
now all of a sudden it's all about meritocracy, as
Right.
if everything that they've gotten isn't because of nepotism, you know what I'm saying? Or proximity, right? And like the connections that they have. So it's almost like, dude, miss me with the nonsense. You know what I'm saying? And so
Absolutely.
it just it blows me. Once again, it's not only a moving of the goalposts, but also what I feel like it is that, and this is where it can get dangerous, right? Is I feel like what we have to do is we have to acknowledge and we have to be careful as Black people to not buy into the nonsense, right? Because of
Agree.
like what you said when we first started with how now all of a sudden they're starting to paint this picture of what DEI is. Like, first off, I don't like that, okay? Because DEI is some new shit, okay? Like, let's just be clear. And so is affirmative action. The vast majority of Black people that have gotten some role of affluence or some role of importance, they have worked their ass off and they have
Absolutely.
had to overperform above and beyond what anybody
Absolutely.
even could imagine, right?
And got
So
paid
now all of a
less.
sudden it's
And
like,
got
let's
paid less for it.
and gotten paid less. But now, as people are starting to ascend, as Black women also are continuing to climb up this ladder,
Correct.
now it's like, okay, how can we take some of the wind from out of their sails? How can we deflate their balloon a little bit?
By
Now,
saying that they are
everybody that does
DEI hire.
anything,
Yep.
anything that does anything great, now all of a sudden is DEI. Automatically, we
You
can just be like,
must have
oh, see,
been a
DEI.
DEI hire.
Must have been
Yes.
okay. Couldn't have been the 20, 30 years that they've been grinding their ass
No,
off,
no, no,
all
no.
the other positions that
No, no,
they've, achieved, everything that they've done. They've either slept their way to the top or they've lucked up or they've been a DEI. Like what a brilliant way to discount their brilliance while elevating your own mediocrity
correct.
by, oh yeah, so this other person that has graduated, so I guess they just giving away degrees for DEI, right?
Right. Right.
People are acting like you don't have to put in the work. Like
Right.
people are putting in the work. All they're
Correct.
saying is DEI is saying, hey, listen, you've got 13 strawberry sodas. Maybe you should also look at a grape as well. You know what I'm saying? It's not saying hire the grape. It's saying, hey, let's acknowledge the fact that it's easy to feel kinship with people that look like you, that come from similar backgrounds. So this is an initiative that says we're going to make a special attempt to ensure that we, at the very least, are seeing other candidates. It's not a quota of hiring. You know what I'm
It is
saying?
not
And
at
I think
all.
that that is one of the things that's so frustrating about it. And that's why I'm like, see, we got to make certain that we don't. And when you said some of the Black people that want to see it go away, I think on some levels, they've sipped the Kool-Aid and they don't like the idea that when people are seeing them, they're seeing DEI. So they're saying, you know what, remove it all so that when you see me up in this bitch, you know that I got here by my own merit and I don't want to hear that nonsense. And I
Right.
can understand
Right.
someone that, like, I understand both ends of the fence, right? You know what I'm saying? Because, I'm one of those type of people where I'm like, listen, man, if you giving it to me, has to be about charity on some level, right? Not I've earned it, I've fought for this, but it was charity, which we know it's not. But it's like, if that's what it was for you, then go ahead and take away your little 3% of hires, or your not even 2%. It's probably, honest to God, under 2% of any hires. Of honest to God, I'm gonna be honest with you, Sean. I think it's less than 2%. I think it's less than 1%. I cannot see Facebook with their thousands of employees doing such a significant hiring that they brought on anything that was over 1.5% of whatever their total. That don't seem like the way that company moves. I would
let
not
me
be surprised. And ironically enough, they have not published those numbers. That's why when I gave you the statistics, that only 4.9% even work at Facebook. So it's like, okay, unless you're telling me all of them are DEI hires, why are you all going on this whole campaign? You know what I'm saying? And that's why I'm like, it feels like it's something sinister. It feels like there's this concerted effort amongst a lot of the elite to attempt to, it's almost like a repudiation. You know what I'm saying? Like you
right.
said, this is some backlash from Trump winning, where either they feel emboldened and this is always how they feel, or they are attempting to quelch that, very vocal base of that party now, that just feels like, yeah, now it's time for us to turn up. And you feel what I mean? So
Oh,
that's why
absolutely.
I
Absolutely
was
it is.
like, I want to get your perspective on this or whatever, because I know that when a lot of this stuff was happening, you were already making major moves, but you were able to take advantage of a moment to give you access, right? But here's the
Yes.
reality of it. Somebody drinking your juice, they gotta like the wine. I don't give a damn how
Correct.
much DEI you put
Yes.
out here. If this shit
Yes.
tastes nasty, I'm not supporting it, right?
Period.
Turn people
Period.
into customers because you finally were able to get some attention in this industry that you are less than 1% of.
To
You know what I'm
say
saying?
I am here, and that's it. And let me tell you the other flip side, and to your point of saying that, oh, I'm sure it was not okay because this company has this DEI department, or because this business was able to be seen because of DEI, that we got these contracts. Let me tell you a fact. I've received, and my colleagues have received, emails saying, oh, yes. Thanks for filling out our information through supplier diversity. Thank you for submitting. However, we can't force the buyers to buy your product. That was a lot of the answers when it came to
Mm,
them actually even giving us a shot. It was easy for them to have this selection, this percentage of DEI possibilities, minority brands that were possibility, women-owned brands that were possibilities. So we were in this pot, but then they quickly said nope, and the other larger companies end up getting those contracts, those
mm,
RFPs, and the response was simply, yeah, but we can't force that buyer to take it just because you're, a minority. We
mm,
can't. Oh, got it. So I feel the check mark, right? The check mark of the percentage of minorities and or women-owned
mhm,
companies that you needed to say that you tried, but did you really? Because
mhm,
I'm sorry, a lot of you said no before you even tasted the product, or you said no to my colleagues before you even knew exactly who they were. But did we just fill the slot at the time to
mm,
get whatever the money that you were getting, the grants that you were getting, the budget that you were getting, just to tell us we weren't ready? So a lot of people may think that, again, we as Black people got so many opportunities under a DEI um, department, or a DEI opportunity, when a lot of times, no, we did not. Still didn't get the opportunity. Was still
mm.
told no, and still were excuses why they went with the larger companies. So this
I,
is
you know, I also think that that's just wild that, like, we literally have a thing that everybody has collectively agreed upon that they call the good old boys club.
Yeah.
How is the Good Old Boys Club not DEI? Like another version of that. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
How is that meritocracy when it's
Yep.
these guys that knew one another? Like, you guys are no more intelligent. You guys are no more capable or competent than anyone else. You all benefited because of who you
Who
knew.
you knew?
Like,
Who you knew?
I see. I get upset when it's these things that's been accepted for my entire life, and now all of a sudden Fox News decides, okay, we're just going to say something completely different. And now, because no one, like you said earlier, cares at all about facts anymore.
Yep.
We are you know, you talk about gaslighting, and it's just like, man, what is happening in this world today where and that's what I'm saying. I'm like, man, this stuff is going to backfire on people because you can't build a castle upon sand. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just can't. And there's no way that we can continue to live in la la land and not think that it's going to have detrimental results. You know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about
Yes.
for all parties, all
Agreed.
rungs of society. Like,
Agreed.
it amazes me that we continue to make the same dumbass mistakes to find ourselves in these perilous moments where then all of a sudden everybody is clamoring, for a solution. And it's like, you guys, why are you all surprised? And we inched our way here one step at a time. You know what I'm saying? And I like I said, I think what just surprised me was to notice that these ultra wealthy, ultra rich tech people that a little while ago were supposed to be these bastions of like liberalism and thinking outside of the box and accepting who you are. It's like all of a sudden they just turned on a dime, and it's like what really has happened? You know what I
It was
mean?
kind of
So,
a, whoo, we don't have to do that anymore. And I don't know. It for me again, I definitely saw some people that were real and intentional. However, it is a little bit surprising. I definitely come from an upbringing of seeing real racism, of
mm,
witnessing, of experiencing it. But some things that people are saying now and doing now are still actually surprising me.
mm,
It's very much like all of a sudden coming out their shell.
right, right,
The
right.
bad are coming out of their shell, and
Mhm.
and and some, I believe, also know the truth when they go home and have their conversations with their significant others and loved ones. They are telling the truth, but when they open the door, they know they can lie.
And you know what? And it's also just about, and we talk about this sometimes. We've talked about it several times on, any collective show that we've done, in which is the influence of social media sometimes, right?
Absolutely.
Like, in this whole space that we're in right now, where everyone is attempting to monopolize your attention. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And it's like, part of, I think, even how we got here was by certain people, specifically even white men. But it's not even just white men, because it also exists on Black people's side also, where you'll get certain people's willingness to prey upon uh, individuals who are not strong, the weak, whether it be weak mentally, weak emotionally, weak spiritually, weak financially, right? And so when
Yes.
you think about a lot of these individuals that, sometimes I may playfully rib them, not openly, but just, amongst the inner circle. They like, these are dudes that couldn't pull no chicks back in the day, right? Like, these are dudes that they were lames, not even nerds, because like nerds can be cool, nerds can have
Yes.
some charisma. Like, no,
Yes.
these were people that like just had no swag whatsoever, couldn't buy a chick, right? And they studied hard, and they started their companies, and they got these millions of dollars, and chicks still won't give them no ass,
Right.
right? And then you start to get bitter. And it's almost like, okay, well, you know what? I'm the job creator. I'm gonna make life hard for you. You know what I'm saying? And they find comfort inside of the shelter of one another's anger. until some figure arises that can channel said anger in a ton of ways that really ain't productive. And like, what's unfortunate is like they sending these dudes off, right? Like the Andrew Tates, like everybody in them spaces be sending these dudes off, right? I don't care what
Yes.
nobody say. And the reason I say so is because it's like Andrew Tate can sit up there and he can say what it is he says and has his state of mind. But Andrew Tate is also very physically fit, attractive dude with a lot of money.
Yep.
He can
Yep.
afford to talk shit like that.
Yep.
Bro, you broke as hell. You know what I'm saying? Living in somebody's basement with a GED, if that.
Yep.
You don't have the swagger to be able to talk like that to anybody and pull chicks. You know what I'm saying? But what they'll do is it's almost like they've got these figures on a pedestal, right? It's just they got
Bingo.
these figures on a pedestal. It's like by default, they end up becoming their leader. And then
Yes.
it's almost like they outsource their thinking to said individual. And then those individuals that are in that position, they know better, but they don't care. I'm gonna just keep selling this nonsense and keep and that's
Because
what we
it's
get.
working. We're in the
Grifting.
age where selling the nonsense is
Yeah.
working.
And
I'm going to tell you
it's
something that
working.
happened on a super tiny scale. I follow this group on social media called R&B Hits from like the
Okay.
80s and 90s.
Mhm.
And someone
I follow a
posts,
group that's similar, so
like,
I'm aware.
love those groups, right? They show the
Mhm.
videos, the old videos and everything, and it takes me back. So there was one post where it was just a picture and words, right? And everybody's going to believe what this post says. And it was that Michelle Williams wrote all of Joe's song. Joe, an old school R&B singer, Michelle Williams wrote these songs. That's what it
Mm.
says, right?
From
So
Destiny's Child?
yes. So then this is the funny thing. Whole bunch of people are commenting, oh my God, I knew she was always the most talented one from Destiny's Child. People are going in saying how more talented she is than
And
Beyonce.
of
And
course,
oh my God,
I was just about to say, I know they took that opportunity to take pot shots at
going
Beyonce.
in, going in. So then myself being a true old school R&B fan, I said to myself, that's impossible. There's no way she wrote his songs. So then, as I'm thinking and scrolling, one person comments, there's no way she wrote the song. She was only 14 when Joe was huge. Why are we taking away from Joe? So then I was like, I knew I wasn't stupid. The funny thing, there was a writer. There is a writer. What's her name? Michelle Williams. She just literally has the same name as Michelle Williams from Destiny Child. Her spelling of her name is even different. Michelle is spelled
Mhm.
differently. It's like one less L. But people just went, oh my God, she's amazing. Oh my God. And not one person, except for like 3 out of the 100 comments, actually said, wait a minute, that's not possible. That's not possible. Joe is how old? He came out, wait, in 19 what? She was barely a teenager. What are we
Yeah.
talking about? So see what I'm saying? Like this quick to jump to this misinformation. And then people were arguing because I tapped in and said fake news.
Mm.
People tried to argue with other people, and I said, check your facts. What are you talking about? Yeah, this makes no sense. And then one person, after they were arguing with somebody else, said and came back to my statement and said, oh, my bad. You right. But my point of saying that,
I'm
those
surprised that they
hundreds
at
of
least admitted it.
people, right? At least that person admitted it. But the hundreds of people that took this information and ran with it and are probably telling other people over cocktails. Did you
Hmm.
know Michelle Williams wrote all of Joe's songs?
Oh, oh,
So
oh,
what is this? The spread of
oh
misinformation
yeah.
with no problem. So I say that to say, I think to your point about how things are going to get worse, it's going to be a lot of things put together, right? It's going to be this down of DEI. It's going to be this, what Zuckerberg put in, the fact no more fact checks, right? So, and which is so crazy to me how he said there's going to be
Crazy.
what? There's going to be a
Crazy.
board for people to decide and talk about if it's factual or not. What are we talking about here? Why is that okay?
Look.
Why it's
Not
okay
only
for
not
me to
only
tell
taking
you,
away that, but he's also uh loosening the like the censors and stuff like that.
yes, yes, so you
He
can
want to
swear
bring
on
back
it, no
free
more
speech all of a sudden.
Facebook
But see, you want to
jail.
know what's weird about that though? So he says that simultaneously while Elon was talking about tweaking his algorithm to make things more positive. I'm like, what are y'all doing?
Because he was losing so much. So I think it's just this crazy world, crazy town of, to your point, is it the coming of the nerds, or like the old school movie Revenge of the Nerds,
Revenge
right?
of the Nerds. That's exactly what
This is
this is.
Revenge of
Oh,
the
you know what?
Nerds.
You know what? And that is what I'll title this episode, Revenge of the Nerds, because that's exactly what's happening, man.
Yeah.
These cats is acting up. Like, you want to know what it makes me wonder? And I think I might have to workshop this with you later because I'm thinking about doing an opinion on just on this because I'm like, somebody at Facebook, it's a brother somewhere in Facebook that pissed off Mark Zuckerberg, man. Like, somebody
Absolutely.
hurt him, and I'm trying to figure out who. Like, they need to find this mystery Tyrone. I don't know if he pushed up on that
Right.
man's wife during the Christmas party, and Zuckerberg saw her smiling a little bit too much, and
I
was like,
don't know.
"Oh, really, Tyrone? Okay,
Oh God.
DEI is over now." You know what I'm saying?
It's
No,
a wrap.
It ain't DEI. It's DIE. Okay, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what happened,
I
but
don't
I
either.
think,
I don't.
oh,
I for
listen,
real think it's Revenge of the Nerds. I think it's one of those things where I see, like, in my head, a cocktail party with all the ridiculously wealthy guys like Elon, Bezos, and Zuckerberg. Just, that ha 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 ha, like of knowing what they're doing to
no.
individuals.
That's just it. That's just it. It's like sometimes I be wanting to give these cats like credit like that, but that's
You
what's
don't even
so
want to give.
fascinating
You
is
don't
that
even want
I feel like the opposite is actually more accurate. Is that these are people who are ferociously insecure,
to.
and they
They're
never are able to feel settled in their skin. I feel the same way about Trump. Like, he can act tough all he wants to. Trump seems very uncertain and unsettled in his skin,
yeah.
and most things that he
Agreed.
does is a projection of strength. But like, I know real killers, I know real tough guys, I know real whatever, like real cool people, and they never have to announce it to the world. They never
Ever.
have to tell you. Real intelligent people never have to tell you how intelligent they are. Real
Nope.
rich people never have to broadcast how much money they have. You know what I'm saying?
Never.
So it's like
Never.
every time that I see
Never.
him doing that, I'm like, this is an act, and it fools a lot of people, and so therefore, in the world of perception is reality. I guess on some level it has some merit, but it doesn't really have merit internally because if you're a fraud, I don't care how much you try to put on to the world of all these things that when you go to bed at night or you look in the mirror, you're a fucking fraud. You know what I'm
Correct.
saying? And so I feel like in that space is where it don't matter how much money they get. Just like we say, in our culture, right? Money can't unlame a lame. And these
Correct.
dudes are lame. And so it don't matter. Like, this dude bought Twitter. He spent $44 billion with Twitter that's now got a $8 billion valuation. So he can be cool.
Yep.
He
That was it.
literally blew all of that money. So people say, oh, well, he wanted to control the election. I don't even think he thought that far ahead. I think he thought, I want some followers and I want people to think I'm cool, and Twitter is cool. That's where all the cool people are at. And if I'm the one that you know what I mean? And he be tweaking the algorithm so that you can see his shit. Like, he's in love with the sound of his own voice. And keep in mind, it ain't baddies that's following this dude.
Right.
It's the nerds. It's
Correct.
the incels. It's the people who can't, like I said, can't buy a chick.
The misfits. It's the misfits.
It's the
But think
misfit.
about this. Think about this. That the misfit just got elected into office. The
Mm.
misfit just became the president of the United States once again. So if your theory is correct and they are the misfits, they're looking at him and saying, "Oh my God, you did it. You were able to influence all these millions of people to believe you, and you're a pure fraud and a misfit just like me." So are they just seeing themselves in him? Are they looking up to
Mm.
him like,
I
all of
can
a
see
sudden they're
that.
going to Mar-Lago, all of a sudden they're cool. Before they were staying away from him, they were steering clear from him. Now
Hmm.
all of a sudden they're like, oh my God. So maybe it's simply they're brilliant people that broke the code, or were able to tap into something that was just humongous, right? Something that was just unbelievable that grew to just epic status. So
So
Trump broke that code too, and they're trying to make what they're trying to understand it.
you want to know what I guess I'm also a little amazed at, and I won't even make this full aside because me and a colleague of mine were talking about this earlier today, but I guess just the fact that like how much things have changed, how when we came up, I remember quite a bit that men did was to attract the gaze and the attention and the adoration of women. And I don't 100% know when that changed, right? She thought it had something to do with the family structure and family dynamics and the whole nine. And I'm like, nah, because a lot of cats that I grew up with didn't necessarily come from nuclear households like that neither. But even and again, I circle back to social media because I feel like back then, even in the content that we consumed, you saw men being chivalrous. And so that
Right.
was kind of how we were being programmed. I mean, even from the nerds, whether you were,
Yep.
was it Skeet or whatever, from Saved by the Bell, or you were Urkel from Family
Yes.
Matters, or,
Yes.
you
Yes.
know, any nerd in any one of these things, uh, all the way to the cool guy, the Zack Slaters,
Yep.
and you know what I'm saying, like, or Theo or whoever.
Yes.
Everybody, when they were trying to get after a woman, knew to soften it up, knew to kind of play into women. And then all of a sudden
Absolutely.
it was just like, no, let's be angry and argue with these bitches. And it's
Yep.
like, nigga, that don't work.
Locker room
Like,
talk. Like,
it
what are
doesn't,
you
right, but
talking
it
about?
doesn't work. That's the thing.
At
It
all.
does not work, right?
At all.
On anybody. So
At
my
all.
thing is, it's like, okay, so you all are adopting a behavior just so y'all can not get no ass. Like,
But
at what point, you know what I'm saying? And that's why they angry. And that's why they like, yo, you know what I'm saying? I gotta take things away from everybody because they're not getting the attention and the adoration. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole good guys finish last. Oh shit, maybe that's what it is. Maybe they think the good guys are finishing last, and so they are attempting to enter their villain era with the hopes that it's going to make them macho and attract the gaze of those who now I saw this whole thing earlier today where this one guy was trying to go into a whole thing where he was like basically saying that like a lot of guys have like uh this thing where they like he talked about the male relationship with their father and how
mm,
if you have a good relationship, you're either trying to live up to his expectation, or if you have a bad relationship or no relationship, you're trying to prove him wrong for leaving you,
mm.
right? So on a very base level, uh, most men are attempting to. I'm trying to think how I articulated it because I mean I thought it had some merit, but I also thought it was an oversimplification of because I think it was like some old like trying to talk about the bromance or whatever, which
Right.
I never like it when people try to oversimplify it or whatever because it to me it's the same thing as like women having a kinship with other women, right? Like we all forge close relationships with people that we identify with or people
Correct.
that we think um embody characteristics that we either admire or understand, right?
Right.
And so I try not to oversimplify it and turn everything into like some past trauma or like daddy issues. And it's like, nah, that's kind of like a common sense thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's two black people in a room of 100. If both of you all have a similar experience or come from a similar background, there's going to be some unspoken language that you both share that
You're gonna
nobody else gets.
gravitate.
You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? And you shouldn't
Yes.
turn that into like a racial thing. It's like, nah, two isolated people of a particular culture in any particular
Naturally.
land is going to forge that kind of bond or whatever. But I did
Absolutely.
think that it did have some kind of validity, right? Where I was like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like like I said, I think it's a couple of different things. I just, I also know we're in the age of Aquarius, right? And that a lot of traditional relationships and traditional relationship structures are never going to be the same, right? Like, because the age of Aquarius is going to uh make this a very non-conforming period that we're currently encountering, right? And so, every we just out here now, right?
Right.
And I think that maybe that's also what we're feeling a bit of, is just the world is somewhat in a tailspin, and this may be the new normal. Like, what if this is the new normal? Like, them talking about they removing fact checkers. Yo, we are literally about to be in a society where we can write our own reality.
Correct. You can write your own truth. And I wonder, does it become so the new normal that us normal people that do believe in facts start saying to ourselves, hmm, maybe I will just create an alternative
Dabble.
fact.
Oh, listen, I'm already, well, okay, I'll put it like this. I can't do that because that is the antithesis of who I am. Sometimes I wish I could do it. I would have been winning and winning big, but I can't help but to present who I am authentically.
Yep.
It's a gift and a curse. The gift is that I feel probably more comfortable in my skin than 95% of the other people that I interact with, you know what I'm saying? Because on some level, they're always trying to project some fictitious, rendition of who they think they're supposed to be, instead of really assessing who they are authentically, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? But the drawback is in the material space, right? That my unwillingness to weave fantasies puts me at a disadvantage, right? Because there's only a handful of us out here that like the real, right?
Correct.
Like, if I were willing to revel in the bullshit, then the content I create would be bullshit, and I would play into it a little bit more. I'd feel empty on the inside, but I'd be winning outwardly, right? And so, it's kind of one of those spaces that I think I find myself in. But
And we are one and the same. But then, like you said, there's not, at this point, I'm starting to believe there's not enough of us that are like that. So
mm,
then there's the ones that sit right in between, I believe, right? The ones that are generally good people,
mhm.
but they are wanting that next thing so bad in whatever
We
it
fell outside
is.
the lines a little bit. Mhm.
Yes, that they're
Yeah.
like, well, does this really hurt? Or they go with the philosophy of, well, they're doing it, so why can't I? So there's that other level of people. So are they going to play into this
I think
so,
so.
and they're
I
gonna be
think
like,
so.
F it. Let's just play into it, see what we can get out of it. And if this is what life brings, fine.
Krishan, let's be honest. There's there's only so what they say, if you can't beat them, join them.
Hmm.
There's only so much what feels like losing that you can take, at the very least, before you say, maybe I should color outside the lines a little bit, right? Like, I give you one small thing, man. And I've been loving even seeing other people revel in it, which lets me know, okay, we all feel the exact same frustration and ambivalence at the same time. The moment that Zuckerberg started talking about releasing all that censorship shit, it's like, oh, okay, you don't care about facts, you don't care about reality, you don't care about
Right.
civility. Bet we all cussing in this bitch now.
Right. Here I
That's
go.
why
I
I'm just
saw
like,
people
oh,
just
okay,
like,
oh, okay,
oh,
oh, listen,
like, let's
listen.
go. Oh, I don't have to go to jail, Facebook jail anymore. Just going ham.
Krishan, like, I mean, to the point, I'm throwing in unnecessary things
Just
sometimes.
because.
Look, people piss me off on posts. Man, that's because you're an idiot, okay? I'm like, oh, okay, because if that's what we do now, here's my deal.
Right.
I'm someone that I say I'm going to attract energy. I'm going to meet energy with energy. I'm not going to allow people to dim my light, right?
Of course, of
So
course.
anytime that I can sense within a person either the desire to learn, the desire to grow, the desire to love, you know what I'm saying, the desire for community, I'm going to lean into that, because that is what I think my foundation and my desired form of language. However, I'm bilingual and I always have been. And you already know that
Mm-hmm.
little affectionate side of me I call the warrior. It's always right there.
Mm-hmm.
It's always right there. And I'm into a space now where I got to be careful, because sometimes the portal of social media will suck me in, and I will make time every once in a while to
Right.
read some of
To
these
go ham.
idiots. You know
Yes.
what I
Yes.
mean? And
Yes.
now
Yes.
that Zuckerberg did took the chains off. Oh, okay. I'm telling you, he is going to regret it. I
Mark
guarantee you
my
he's going to
words,
regret it.
and you are absolutely right. And it reminds me of the skit with Dave Chappelle, when keeping it real goes wrong.
Yes. Yep.
I
Yep.
think
Yep.
that's going to start happening with
Yep.
that piece. People are
Hmm.
going to find themselves feeling so empowered to keep it real because they can now, or feel that they can now, that they're going to get themselves in trouble. Mark my words, if this ages well, what I'm going to say right now, I believe what could happen is people could lose their relationships, can lose their jobs, can lose their opportunities because they decided to keep it real on Facebook and not censor themselves like they have in the past. That could bite them in the butt if
So
they
okay.
don't roll it back a little bit.
So I agree with that to a degree, right? I do believe that hindsight always being 2020, and that progress or balance isn't a scale, it's more like a pendulum, right? In a sense that we may be noticing a strong pushback, but there will be a point where the pendulum swings back here. And when you get to this side, you do have to atone for all the bullshit that you was doing over there, right? So, you know, people are making comments online. You're right. People are taking screenshots. You know what I'm saying?
That's my
There will
concern.
be there will be a record, right? Like there will be some type of history to say, hey, remember you said this back in the day. So you are right. There will be some individuals that are wilding.
They just go a little too far.
They're going a little too far. But I will say this much though, for those of us that have never even told the line, oh, I'm taking a
Yep.
healthy dive in, right? Like,
Right.
and we
Right.
talked about
I
this
get it.
because one of the things that I'm like is I'm like, I'm tired of us playing this respectability role where we are attempting to live up to a standard that they made us believe we had to, that they
Right.
themselves not only never really lived up to, but now are vehemently pushing back against. And if
Agreed.
that's what we're on, I'm not about to be the, you know what I mean? Like, because I'm gonna be honest, even when it comes to like the Democrats, I'm more on the Jasmine Crockett type energy. These other people that's out there apologizing and shit, I don't like that. I don't like, nah, because and the reason I don't like that is because see, we think it's civility, but they are taking it as cowardice, and it's empowering them to become bolder. You know what I'm saying? But see, I know how to deal with a bully. When you face a bully head on, 9 times out of 10, they show you who they are, which are punks, right? So like I've known this my entire life, like with people that's a lot bigger than me, because when they realize that I'm willing to go there, right? You can quickly determine who really got that fire inside of them, because see, real niggas with the fire, they not doing all of this rah-rah stuff, right? So when a person can sense that you ready to go there, they don't test you. But if you keep giving people the space and you keep allowing them to, you know what I'm saying? Like, nah. So I'm like, okay, I'm not about to go through 4 more years of ducking and dodging and, oh, what's
Oh,
gonna
I
happen
agree.
today? Nah,
I agree.
y'all got smoke, my nigga. Call me the fireman. I'm putting that shit out. I'm putting that
Totally
shit
agree with
out.
you. It's
I
definitely not
guarantee
about
you.
being
If
silent.
y'all really want to go there with me, then let's
Right.
go there. Let's
I
go there
totally
then.
agree with you when it comes to fighting for something, whether it be a topic that you feel very strongly on, whether
Right,
it be like, wait a
right.
minute, I've been holding back my feelings because I was going to go to Facebook jail, but now I'm not. So let me go in. Let me say what I 100% agree with you. I just don't want people to get arrogant,
Mm,
so arrogant that they have
right,
this
right.
cushiony ass job that they got this pension that they about to collect
Oh no.
and they
I,
say
I hope
something.
they know better. I hope they
real
know better.
stupid because they're like, wait a minute. And I'll say this where it falls, because I know some people have private accounts and they're not public, blah blah blah. But
Mm,
this is my issue. It's not about not having a voice. It's not about being who you are. To the point of everything we just talked about, I am leery in trusting people at this point
mm,
because people told me they were going to vote for this person, or people
mm,
told me they believed in this and they did not. So when it comes down to our friends on Facebook,
right.
who are truly people that are more than likely your associates, in passing, at a party and say hi, or in your job, I'd be very cautious what you say now, based on now the floodgates are open, because I don't
Mhm,
trust them. It's not that I don't trust you and what
mm,
you're projecting or saying or how you feel. I don't trust what people are going to do in weaponizing it.
mm.
That is my concern now.
And you know what? And that is true. But listen, I'm gonna tell you like this, man. And I know that there's a different set of rules that govern us, right, than them. Always has been,
Always,
to pretend
always.
like it's not is just to lie to yourself, right?
Right.
But it is going to be hard, at least internally, for any opposition to attempt to take the moral high ground moving forward, right?
Yeah.
Like I like, just even when you just watch it on the news and you just see how many open, overt, clear lies that they are telling right now.
With a straight
Like
face.
like we are like, and that's why I'm, because I don't see how we dial it back. I don't unless it's something catastrophic. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I try not to like speak it into existence, but the last time that my man's was in, we had COVID, right? We had a whole last pandemic. Now, I'm not saying that he necessarily created, but his energy was the embodiment of chaos, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And we decided to double down and do it again when he's older, more senile, more unhinged. I'm
Absolutely.
like, it
Absolutely.
might be some nuclear type shit that happens this time
He
on
wants
his
to
watch.
call the
Like
Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America now. So we're just talking like the most why is this
crazy,
okay? Why is
crazy.
this
And
okay?
I'm waiting to see how this plays out and how karma decides to teach everyone an important lesson. Now we already know how they
Oh,
roll. They only gonna learn it for about 5 years, and then
right.
once they start feeling good again, they back on bullshit.
Right.
It is
Right.
what it is. But I know that there's no way that you put inefficiency and volatile emotional behavior in positions where a steady hand and poise and wisdom is needed, and not expect chaos. Like, so I don't know how it plays out, but it starts at the top and it's going to trickle down. You know
It's
what I'm
gonna be
saying?
very
So
interesting.
it's
It's
like
gonna be very
we
interesting.
we all gonna feel it, but the
Yeah.
only consolation is, to me, is that Black people have always been survivors. We've
Always.
always
Always.
figured out how to make the best out of difficult circumstances.
Yes.
Our brethren of the lighter hue, not so much. They
Correct.
they have proven that they do not handle adversity well. They like to believe they do, but they don't. You know what I'm
They
saying?
do. They do.
So it's going to hit them hard, and I don't know what part of it will occur when they have the epiphany. And
Mhm.
and again, they probably won't learn the lesson, but they will feel the pain though, because we
Absolutely.
just made some dumbass decisions and we put some billionaires into positions and believed that somehow the billionaires were the everyday man and they were fighting for us. And just that alone is the most ridiculous thing that just, even when I say it sometimes out loud like that, it's like we really put the richest man in the world in a position of influence and believe that he was going to fight for the everyday man. That alone is bananas. Like, if I took this entire world and
Yep.
we hopped in a DeLorean 15, 20 years and was like, hey guys, Imagine the richest man in the world fighting for the poor people. What do you think about that? They like,
Right.
man, that sounds stupid as hell. But somehow, step by step, by micro step, we've allowed the literal richest man in the world
Yes.
fight for the everyday common man, and we believe this shit and we are justifying it. And it's like, okay. So that's why sometimes you just gotta throw your hands in the sky and say,
You do. I think we're
what
living
can we
in
do?
the wildest Jim Jones scenario you possibly can. There's been that people have completely, if they got on TV right now and said, buy this Kool-Aid and
Right,
trust me, you
right,
need to drink it, there'd be millions of people dead right now. And
right.
and I honestly believe that people have thrown themselves into this chaotic um belief of this messiah, and
Mm,
I don't
right.
understand. The only thing I can think to even fathom in this making any sense is that during that crazy lockdown time during COVID, did people's psyche, did
Mm,
their
yeah,
emotions fall so deep
yeah,
because people were going crazy being locked
yeah,
in their home that
yeah.
they thought was it? Did they fall so far? And I remember we're watching TV, and who do literally every morning when I turn on the TV, who's on there? Trump,
Mm,
talking, what's on there.
crazy. Yeah.
Like so is it the programming, was the programming ever so
Mm.
perfect at that time that, I'll say this, whoever it was at that time is the messiah, right? Because they're throwing your people that did not even normally watch the news were watching the news every day. People that are so you're watching something, and you're processing something you've never been privy to as much as you had during COVID for those years.
So I 100% agree with the conditions of COVID creating like this perfect, uh, you know, like heated thing pot that really of just dangerous materials
Yeah, right.
that
It was just
allow
danger. Yes.
so much to be like volatile. I completely agree with that. Not that this is pushback, but something that is worthy of at least acknowledging is that in a completely quote unquote regular America in 2016, we elected numbnuts to begin with.
Correct.
That in and of itself, though, is was the first indication of what is really the baseline of the American pulse. You know what I'm
Celebritas.
saying?
He was a celebrity.
Mm,
Celebritas. It
okay.
was simply, and in my opinion, it was simply, we felt, I used to watch the show all the time. What was it?
Mm,
Apprentice. I
right.
used to watch that all the time. All the
Mm,
time. So did we fall in such, okay, so when I
mhm.
say this, he got elected because I honestly believe at that time, and this is going to be the broad spectrum, I'm not even going to go deep into politics, of simply he's going up against a woman.
Right.
I
Right.
I I I,
Mhm.
I wholeheartedly believe
Mm,
if it had been somebody else outside of Hillary Clinton and being a woman, that other person would have gotten elected. I honestly
mm,
believe that. I think that is stronger than anything. I believe even that's stronger than Kamala not getting elected because she's a black woman. It I honestly truly believe in my heart of hearts it's because she's a woman.
mm,
I don't see that ever happening in my lifetime,
mm.
that America will vote for a woman
Interesting.
as the president. So I honestly just think it was as simple as, we're going to go with anything but a woman. I think
Mm,
that's what happened in 2016. Now, after that, I think everything else started coming out, the racism, the crudeness, the wait a minute, this person knows nothing about politics. Oh, wait, but they're crude and know nothing about politics. Okay, that's most of America.
but he's
That's
kind of
middle
funny,
America. But he's funny.
you know.
So that's middle America, right? So that's why they're
Right.
seeing themselves in him.
Mm.
So it changed, but I honestly
Mm.
believe it was man and woman with a
Mm.
touch of
Okay.
celebritas. And
Okay.
then it and then they're
Well,
like, wait a minute, he is nuts. So what happened? Biden gets elected. It's a
mm,
man against a man. We gonna vote against the less evil of the two white men. I honestly believe if Kamala was a man, she would have gotten elected.
mm.
Period. I have no so I think that the thoughts have changed. I think and okay, and I'll say this, I'll contradict
Okay.
myself and say, do some actually understand how it works that the president doesn't make all the decisions? Do some really actually honestly understand that? So they're thinking to themselves, okay, he's just the terrible messenger, but we're going to get all the policies that we need to get passed that we really, really, truly want. Do some just not care? Do some
Right.
just know, yeah, he is a piece of shit, and that's okay, but we're going to get all the policies. Is it simple as that? That some do know how government works more than others. But
Yeah.
then again, I go back to the last part of when I am on these crazy social platforms and I see what people are saying about, yeah, because of Trump, I got that stimmy. You dumbass. You're talking about you got $1,200 because of Trump. Do you understand that no matter who had been in office, you would have got that same freaking tiny ass check that you
Oh,
took
you
to
would have got
Louis
it faster.
Vuitton? Like, because he signed it, like okay, so it was because of Trump that you got your Gucci bag that you throw in
Right.
your closet right now. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? That's insane. So I don't know, what people
Listen,
are thinking, but like I said,
Krishan,
to be a fly on the wall.
listen. So before I let you go, okay. Before I
Oh my
let you
god,
go.
I
You
was see
remember
I
that
was
song?
going
All
to
right.
the before
So
I let go. I was going there.
that
I was
okay.
going there.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
Little cute little battle. Okay. So when we collab, we generally call it wine and love, right?
Yes.
You being wine, me being love. Uh, boom, tss. So
Uh-huh.
we hosted an event down here about what was it, about like 2.5 months ago. Ended
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
being an incredible event. We will dig into some of the footage in future, episodes that we do. I actually had quite a bit to cue. I didn't even intend on us just getting into, but we really haven't had an opportunity to even bit about this period. So
Right.
this was just fodder for my soul. So I appreciate you humoring me. Hopefully the people that are watching us, have enjoyed the discourse as well. But I'd be remiss if I did not just give people a little taste of what occurred at our wine and love that we did here in October, right? So what I want to do was, without any real buildup, I wanted to play this particular clip, right, of a comment that was made. And I want to get your particular assessment of it. Now, okay, for those of you all that are watching, fun fact, Chrishon wasn't even in this room during the time of this event. Okay, so I started the event where I introduced Chrishon to the room. We sold out of all the wine here in Phoenix, Arizona. And I did like a one-on-one interview with her for the first quarter of the event, right? It was very interactive, not the typical interview. She absolutely slayed it. But right when we completed it, I thought she was going to be sitting off to the side of the stage, engaging in the discussion. Oh no, Krishan goes over in the other room and commences to selling like 20, 30 bottles of wine to all the people who already had wine that they have inside the event, right? So I had to pretty much give her updates about how dope the actual discussion was, because she didn't make it back in until like the last, like maybe 20, 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So she hasn't even seen this clip yet.
I have
But I
not.
think that what you will enjoy is, okay, so first off, yeah, I absolutely killed the topic. I took the the name of her varietals, and I turned them into discussions about love and relationships. And so, each varietal had like a different theme. And what I love about a captive audience is they will lean into the concept, and so everybody like really dove in head first. and we really had a spirited exchange. But this was one of the particular comments, like I said, in future shows that we do, I'll throw in other pieces of the exchange, but I just wanted to get your assessment of this, and I wanted to know how you felt about this personally, right? Like just what your assessment is of the content that she shared.
So I think there's a few things there. First of all, I struggle with the idea that it's a red flag. I think that's a red flag that you see it as a red flag, because I think that that's really a fear response. For some people, it's a trauma response, because something shows up in a way where, oh my gosh, I think maybe like something's wrong with her. She's mentally unstable. When really, because you don't know what it is to be loved in a particular way. And so we've built up walls in certain ways where it's a problem. And that's not a gender thing, right, at all. And so I think that it's okay to be head over heels. It's okay. But to that point about intensity, it's about learning and knowing your audience, right? When we talk about the idea that you're head over heels for someone that's not quite there yet, if they get there, sometimes they're settling, right? They've realized that whatever's out there, they can't get what they want, but they can get what they want. This person they loved. I grew up, women telling me, find a man that loves you more than you love them, right? So they get to the point where it's like, I know that they're going to treat me right. Doesn't mean it's the love that needs to happen, right? But we choose that over time. And so that person believes if over time I'm consistent enough, they will choose me, man or woman, right? And so I think that when we're able to become whole enough, and that's a whole different conversation, to learn how to be loved, to learn how to communicate how we want to be loved, then when someone shows you that they are head over heels for you and they're speaking that mutual language, it's not foreign. It's received.
Okay, so without the context, what were you able to pull from that? I'm curious.
Okay. there was a lot of things in there. I the red flags part hit me the most, right? About not paying attention to red flags. I was a little confused in that. Because no, that's the main thing I'm going to pay attention to, based on I've had enough relationships and enough experience in relationships to know what I don't want. So if someone shows me red flags, I'm steering clear, because I don't want to fall into that same predicament once again. I don't think it has anything to do with trauma. It has to do with that's the shit I don't like. Like it's just that simple. I don't want that. Now the other piece that I got from that of the old school thought process of find a man that loves you more than you love them, or likes you more. I am so against that statement. I don't understand why that was ever a thing. Because to me, when I had a relationship like that, it was very much of when I would see that person, I'd roll my eyes like, oh, I'm a no. So I didn't even put an effort to look good, and because I know they just loved my dirty draw. So I'm like, So that to me is not
right.
Okay. So
in that regard, right? Like what I would like to know. Okay, so now for the full context, right? Because I wanted to see what was going to be your reaction to the content without a full awareness of where the conversation was before she had made her statement. But essentially what I was sharing was someone was sharing something to the degree of like where he was talking about like not being necessarily aligned well with the object of his desire, right? And so what I ended up asking the question was like, okay, how would you handle knowing that you are into someone probably significantly more than
More.
they're into you. Like, are you able to be in a relationship where you were aware of the fact that you were into them more than they were into you? Not saying that they are not into you, right? Like,
Right,
they're not
right,
playing you, but
right.
just saying, are you comfortable with allowing a person to grow to the space? Because you know how sometimes it's like I think ideally people want to fall in love, and the desire is for our loves to equally be balanced, right? I'm
Right.
just as infatuated with you as you are with me. I want to spend every day around you, and you want to spend every day around me. I want to live in your skin, you want to live in my skin, right? But the reality of it is that that's not how life works. I mean, that's not even how any business transaction works, right? Like, normally someone has the leverage in a business transaction. It
Right.
doesn't mean that we don't want to make this happen, but somebody probably wants that sale a little more. Someone needs the other person a little more, right? Whether it be 60-40, whether it be 70-30, whether it's 80-20, right? How
Agreed,
often?
but you should know. So if you know, that means this is completely out of whack and balance, in my opinion. So if I am so aware that when I was in the dating world, that I adored that person way more than they adored me, if I know that for sure, that's some toxic shit. Because that doesn't even make any that doesn't even make any
Why though?
sense.
Why is it toxic? Why? Okay, is it toxic if he's not being a dick about it? You know, he's giving you attention the whole nine. You
But
just
no,
know,
hear what I'm
you
saying.
know.
You know for a fact, you're telling me I should be okay that I know for a fact that I like this person way more than they like me. That sounds horrific. That sounds toxic. That
But
sounds
but
depressed.
but is it
That is
really?
because
But is
that
it
means
really
I
toxic
am
though?
borderline about to stalk that person. What are we talking about? Like, that makes zero sense. If you know it that much, that is toxic. That is a no. That is a hell no. You need to run because that person ain't that into you.
Okay,
Go.
but wait a minute though. But wait a minute though.
No.
So you were just saying a moment ago though that if it was the other way around, that you gonna treat them some kind of way, right?
Correct.
So
That's why it
then,
shouldn't be. Right. So that's toxic. I'm the problem then, right? Because if I don't like that person,
so wait a minute.
it's
So are you
it's
saying that you're searching for the 50-50? You
it
know what I'm
doesn't have
saying?
to be 50-50, but what to me, what that is saying is like some 70-30 shit. It could be 55-45, but you cannot know for a fact that you either A, don't like someone as much as they like you, and know it for it, like see it, feel it, breathe it, and vice versa. That is
See how
absurd. No.
okay. I guess how I'm seeing this now. I don't know how the emotions play out in real time, right? So I'm just speaking from a theoretical perspective,
Yes.
right? So anybody that's watching this, like, just follow me down this path of what if, you know. I feel like on some level though, any connection on that level is normally one person that has sought out the other person first.
Agreed.
Now
Yes.
I think in our kind of society, it's probably the man that is the hunter,
Absolutely.
so on some level, he's acknowledging, man, hopefully she think I'm cute a little bit, but she's gorgeous. And that's what I was saying. Like, back in the day, that's how it used to be. Like, we would
Yes.
fawn over women a little bit more. Like, even though we the macho man and the whole nine, we saw women as the prize. Women were the trophy, right? So
Yes.
it was understood that we're always doing things in performance for your attention and to get your love, right? But now this new age type of dude is like, well, I know my worth, right? I'm worthy too. I literally just had a dude in the last event say that. I know my worth too. I'm worthy too, right? We got men of the prize. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so now there's this whole new wave of thinking where men are like, well, I'm the prize now. You know what I'm saying? And it feels imbalanced that way a little bit, right? But Because in order for men to be the prize, like, I mean, so what are women supposed to do the chasing? You know what I'm
Let,
saying?
let me
Like,
tell you this. Let me break it down real simple. Real simple. Like, there's the man that proposes to his woman, gets down on his knees, flowers, everybody's crying, and fireworks, right?
mhm.
Then there's the, you know what? We've been together for a long
I
time.
knew you was gonna say that.
Why don't we just rock out? Why don't we just go for it? Let's just go on and do this,
Right.
right?
Let's go
Then
half on the baby. Why don't we
I
go
mean,
half on the baby? You know what
no,
I'm
we
saying?
just let's roll, right? Then there's the woman that gets down on her knees to
Mm,
propose to the man.
right,
So you see what levels I'm talking about? One
right.
and two are fine with me.
Uh-huh.
Three ain't.
Mm,
So again, if you know for a fact that you are way more into this person than they're into you, your ass need to run because that is
mm,
not the one for you, and
mm,
vice versa. If I know that a person is way more into me than I
mhm,
am to them, I'm not going to treat them right. So
mm,
yes, there always is going to be levels. Just like I may tell my girls about my husband and say, oh my God, he's amazing. That does not mean he knows that I'm into him more. Or he could tell his guys, man, my wife, I would kill anybody for, like, oh my God. So
mm,
again, I don't know what he's saying. He don't know what I'm saying,
mm.
but there's never going to be any situation that I'm like, oh God. Ooh, I'm way more into him. Or that sounds absolutely absurd because at the end of the day,
Listen,
something's
listen.
not going to go right.
I
It's
used to, I
no.
used, I used to have some women's heads, noses wide open.
Oh, I
Okay,
know
you
you
know what
did.
I'm saying? There was a time in my heyday, okay, where
Same here in my young days.
right,
But
it was a little
however,
dicey out here for a little
we
bit, but
get older, we get mature, and it's I am 100% on at this point when it comes your priorities change. I'm not talking about obsession and
mhm,
infatuation. Things change, priorities change, your goals change with who you want to be your life partner. But I cannot condone, nor will I ever tell anybody that it's okay that you are so much into this person more than that. Oh, just stay with it, stay the course. So that means
mhm,
you're working extra hard. And that means more than likely you doing too much to keep
uh,
that person.
okay,
Hell no. I am
okay,
one of the believers of the old school thought process that if that person is meant for you, you ain't gonna have to work as hard. Well, you're gonna have to work hard together as a unit,
mm,
but to land that person, more than likely, if you have to work hard, you're doing something that you're becoming not yourself. So you're
mm,
being extra or you're not being real if you
okay.
have to work extra hard. If you're just who you are to your core and you're showing up as your better self and they fall for you, then that makes sense. But
So
otherwise, you doing too much and you lying more than like, no.
okay, so now I'm not gonna go through the whole thing, but I just want to tap into this woman's comment one more time because I want to see something
So I
real
think
quick.
there's a few things there. First of all, I struggle with the idea that it's a red flag. I think that's a red flag that you see it as a red flag because I think that that's really a fear response. For some people, it's a trauma response because something shows up in a way where, oh my gosh, I think maybe like something's wrong with her. She's mentally unstable. When really, because you don't know what it is to be loved in a particular way. And so we've built up walls in certain ways where it's a problem. And that's not a gender thing, right? At all. And so I think that it's okay to be head over heels. It's okay. But to that point about intensity, it's about learning and knowing your audience, right? When we talk about the idea that you're head over heels for someone that's not quite there yet, if they get there, sometimes they're settling, right? They've realized that whatever's out there, they can't get what they want, but they can get what they want. This person they love. I grew up, women telling me, find a man that loves you more than you love them, right? So they get to the point where it's like, I know that they're going to treat me right. Doesn't mean it's the love that needs to happen, right? But we choose that over time. And so that person believes if over time I'm consistent enough, they will choose me, man or woman, right? And so I think that when we're able to become whole enough, and that's a whole different conversation, to learn how to be loved, to learn how to communicate how we want to be loved, then when someone shows you that they are head over heels for you and they're speaking that mutual language, it's not foreign. It's received.
Okay, so now with that added context, she said that she thinks that it's a problem if you see that as a red flag that somebody's head over heels in love with you, from her perspective,
It's
right?
not about seeing it as a red flag. It's about you're just not into that person. That's not a red flag. I look
Okay,
at red
okay, okay,
flag.
okay, okay. So have you ever, let's pull it back, because I guess on one level we can look at it as someone is someone recognizes that, all right, I'm gonna get a little hood with this. There are times where you say to yourself, even as a woman, boy, if I get this dude some coochie, he gonna be showing up to my job. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so you know that some people just don't have the mental or emotional capacity to be able to handle you in even the way that you might manage a particular relationship, right?
Yes.
And I
And
think that
they
we've
know.
all kind of
Yes.
recognized that there's some people that we just wouldn't be good for them. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
They wouldn't sleep well at night, right?
Absolutely.
So there's that. But then I think there's the other thing where, all right, you can tell that this dude is really into you. I mean, he a player and shit. You know what I'm saying? He ain't gonna, make himself look like a doormat. But you're just kind of like, I mean, yeah, girl. I mean, he all right, but you give him a shot though, right? You
Mhm.
know that he is into you. You can tell by the elaborate date that he's taking you out on. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You in that moment, I guess, are giving him a chance to impress you so that you can see if there's some other qualities maybe that he possesses that I guess you can key into, right? But just like off the rip, he's not doing it for you. You know what I mean? Like, so has that ever occurred where like you've grown and an attraction for someone has grown over time that didn't initially exist? Like, do you feel that that spark has to be there from jump, or do you believe it can mature?
I believe that there was something about that individual from the very beginning.
Okay.
There was something. There was a spark, or there was something that made you say, because I'll say
Okay.
this: when I was in my dating era, definitely if I was not into someone, I
Mm,
was not into them at all, and there was
mm,
absolutely nothing they can do. However, there were definitely times where I'm like, so that means there was something about them. Or let's say I was getting off work and I was hoping that person would call, or expecting their call, or like, I'd go out with him if he calls. So obviously I am into him. I'm not
mhm.
saying that it's like, oh my God, he's calling me. I can't wait till I go. Oh my God. No, but there had to have been something. So I
Okay.
do not believe at all by any means that you're just giving someone a shot that you were not into. There was something about them that you liked. Maybe it was the looks, but maybe it was the swag. Maybe it was the looks, but I don't know if they really do what I want them to do professionally for me to really be into them, but I'll accept it. There was something about them. So I
Okay.
think women are lying, or people are lying if they said that there was that they weren't that into that person at all and they grew to like them. No, you liked them. You may
Mm.
not have liked them as much as you've liked others, but you like them. They made your heart pitter some little bit. Maybe not pitter patter, but it at least pittered.
You think so?
I do.
You
Something
think you
there.
think a full on pitter patter is what you think
No, I said
is
at least
is
a
occurring?
pitter. I said at
A
least a
pitter.
pitter, at least a put. There was something. There was a little ounce of something that you liked
That
about that
is
individual. It could have been
mm,
they made you laugh. It
okay.
could have been, well, I like his shoes. It could have
Okay.
been like just something. I like how that person approached me.
Mm,
There
okay.
was something. And that's all I'm saying. Yes, I think we all in our dating lives have had someone that we were just so head over heels for, it wasn't even funny. That, no, that does not happen every single time, but that does not mean you're not into that person. If you are looking forward to their call, if you're looking forward to their text, if you even respond, you actually like that individual. I know plenty of times back in the day, I would not answer that phone if I didn't want to go out with that man.
Okay, so hold on. So we're saying like, I think you're throwing around like a little liberally, okay? Because what happens to the woman who maybe she's interested in said person for a particular reason, right? Like, I mean, because we all know that like sometimes people, everybody's not looking for love. We'll put it like that,
Correct. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yep.
so in those moments, okay, so when you say like, you mean like maybe I like what you're gonna provide. You mean like in that regard?
No, meaning you have to have some type of attraction. And when I say attraction, I don't necessarily mean you love how they look physically.
Mm,
There's something, there's a spark. For some reason, you want to pick up their call.
mm,
I'm not talking about an extreme situation of this person has tons of cash and I know they're going to take me out to a lavish dinner. So when they call, yeah, I'll go. I'm not talking about that.
okay.
I'm talking about, let me holler. There's something. There's something you like about them.
Okay.
Come on. Like, yeah, like, so no, you can't grow, in my opinion, and you can't grow to adore somebody that you didn't have something for.
Okay. Okay.
I think that's a lot. If it's now, again, if it's extreme, we talking way old school of a provider. If we're talking a gold digging situation, I'm not talking about that.
Okay.
But head
Okay.
over heels, I don't think you can grow to be head over heels for somebody. I think you had that for them to
Really?
begin with. You might not have saw it, but there was something in your body. There was something in your like, yeah, I'm gonna pick up that. There was something. There was
Mm.
something.
Oh,
You
so
can
you
grow
don't?
to love
Oh,
someone more, but there was always something, if you get what I'm saying.
okay. So that I find that a little interesting that you don't believe that someone can grow into being head over heels. You actually believe that that's something that has to, you kind of gotta have that off top, so to
There
speak.
was something there. There was something there.
Oh,
E-
that is
Even if it's as simple as I enjoy speaking on the phone with this person for hours at a time. Even if there is, again, like, oh yeah, I kind of like how he looked in that suit when he walked away. Or I love when I go over to his house and we have a glass of wine and I drink and I eat some pasta. There was something that you want. When I get in his car actually smells good. There's something that you like and enjoy about that individual. I wholeheartedly do not believe that you can all of a sudden start liking someone and then eventually grow head over heels with somebody that you had no type of attraction for all, at all. So you're telling me you were so bored that you went out with this person and continually uh, entertain this individual out of sheer boredom, and all of a sudden one day you woke up and like, oh, I am head over heels for him. Bullshit.
but see, I think I also feel that like different people different people like are ultimately attracted to different things, right? And
Right.
I'm gonna be honest, I feel like, how do I put this? Because we always say how sometimes you'll see certain like real bad chicks with just some extra regular ass dudes, and
Yes.
you
Yes.
know, and it's like, so what I look at that is, okay, this is someone that can see beyond just the physical, right? And if if that is them seeing beyond the physical, then on a level, it means that it probably took some time for that to develop, right? Like in the sense of, I didn't necessarily feel that off the top, but then as I grew to know you, like maybe we worked together, or there was some type of situation that, put us in the proximity with one another where we were able to, grow in, say, a relationship. You know what I'm saying?
But there was something about him, right? There was something about him. So I push back. When I was younger, I would completely agree with you. But as I get older, I really truly realize when I see different wives, different husbands, different relationships, I realize wholeheartedly people are very different in what they find in someone to be attractive or not.
Okay.
When it comes to types, I'm telling you that gets stronger and stronger as you get older. Some people just purely are attracted to certain people that others are not. So what you classify as a baddie with a regular dude, she may actually think he's fly. She really may. Because some people that I would say are beautiful people, I've said, what in the world? like that's a 5 and a 10 together, or that's a 2 and a 8. Like what? But that is what I see. That does not mean that's what they see. When a group of women, and then vice versa, when a group of men are looking at women, looking at vice versa, or whoever you're attracted to, I could pick out one and be like, ooh, yes. And my girlfriend back in the day was like, no, I'm gonna take that one. Like, no, like, no. So I think that's it. Being attractive is so broad. And what we find attractive is so I don't believe that theory anymore. When I was younger, I did believe that theory. Some women love a bald, short dude. Some women, like me, I'm not going under
So you
6.
wait a minute.
Like,
So what it sounds like is basically what you're telling me is that you believe that people innately have types.
yes, that you may not see and understand, but they do.
And maybe they type is rich, is what you said, huh? I got a
Maybe.
type, all right, paid. That's my type.
Maybe that's the hot thing. I don't know. But there's something. I'm telling there's something.
That is hilarious.
And if there was not, there's not going to be any longevity in the relationship, period.
Okay.
It's not going to last. It's not going to last. For whatever reason, it's not going to last.
Well,
That's
listen, I appreciate you for, indulging me in this, wine and love segment. And thank you for being, just an absolutely wonderful guest. It's always super just valuable for me when we get an opportunity to have our exchanges, even in our mildly turned down version, right? Even though I do believe that we are showing up a little bit more authentically, right, in 2025 and beyond. Just as we, and honestly, this isn't even a result of anything political or anything like that. I think that it's just one of those things where you really start to understand that in our interpersonal relationships and with the people that, we sometimes interact with while in our day-to-day like business operations, that they in many cases seek value from us, or they obtain value from us. And, we both had conversations about an awareness of us needing to have a greater willingness to show up in these virtual spaces, right? Just because, sometimes I think that when we see the landscape, if you're not going viral, we think it doesn't have value, right? And increasingly, what I'm starting to realize is that that's not what the future is going to look like. Like on occasion, you might hit a lick. On occasion, something big might happen, and you get your 15 minutes or 15 seconds at this point, right? But in really just what I think is going to be the future of not only commerce, but the future of businesses is, as it does shift away sometimes from like the larger conglomerates, is going to be more on this individual basis, right? Like, and people will have the ability to be able to make a living. Maybe not because of some, massive, multi-million dollar organization, but because of some successful, thriving business that has a solid customer base, right? And that customer base are people that tap into you and see value in not only the things that you're providing, whether it be, physical products, or, if it is something that's more emotional, mental, or spiritual, right? And so the only way that you can really continue to add value to those who are supporting you is by showing up, right? It is by showing up, and it is having a willingness to share more of yourself, and with the hopes that it does add value, right? And so, this is something that you and I have talked about. It's something that we'll do more often, right? Like not just individually, but collectively, like even
Yes.
when, we host the Wine and Love series, right? Because like I said, our collaborative efforts, man, was always a ton of fun, and I was crazy is I haven't even really begun to start releasing the footage from said event, but it was a lot of incredible moments. And like I said, I was really impressed with the fact that people were really leaning into the topics. We was talking about
I
hard
love
knock life. They like, yeah, hard knock life. We was talking
I
about
love that.
head over heels, head over heels. I was like, look at y'all.
I can't wait to see that. I can't wait to
Oh
see
yeah.
it. That was so much fun. So much.
Oh, it was definitely a lot of fun. But I definitely appreciate you, Chrishon. And for those of you all that were not aware of this already, this was pre-recorded, right? Because sometimes you got to get movers and shakers when you can get them. You know what I'm saying? So thank you for your time, Chrishon. And like I said, I know that it's late. We won't even say what time it is, but I will allow you to go about your busy, incredibly busy and rambunctious day. But once again, I really appreciate you. And listen, man, is there anything that you want to share with the people? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I just want to say, I not only was this a great experience, but I just want to say there are so many amazing gems that you drop, Isaac. There's so many amazing things that you say, do, and I just hope your audience really, really uh, understands what a gift you are to them, and what knowledge you share. And I really, really hope they appreciate that, because you are a very special individual. You'll always be special to me. And I just want everyone to just know that you guys have an amazing person that you follow, and we want him to continue to be great. And tell Isaac how much you love him. So there you go. That's what
Well,
I got.
thank you, Krishad. I appreciate you. And as always, man, I could go on for hours, man, with just like the value of our relationship, our bond, not only personally, but also professionally, that we do we assist one another, and I think that that's something that is not only incredibly important to our individual and collective futures, man, but, I'm big on that this year, that I think that with
Yes.
everything that is about to occur, one of the things that I think can help us grow, well, let me scale this back. One of the amazing things about our people specifically is our resiliency, right? It's unfortunate that it has to become a superpower, but our experience here in these United States has been somewhat tumultuous. And so, as unfortunate as some of those experiences may have been in the past, it has provided us with certain assets, and community has always been our strength, and I think that in recent years it's gotten fashionable to kind of distance yourself from the community, or to sometimes kind of almost go out of your way to like not recognize the value in it, right? To not see the community as valuable. But I think in these, upcoming weeks, months, and years, community is going to become more important than ever, right? Not only in terms of finding those safe spaces where you can commune with like-minded individuals. And by like-minded individuals, I don't mean that everybody sees everything the exact same way, but I do mean that we are both heading in the same direction or a similar direction, right? Which is progress and understanding what progress looks like. And so, I think that it becomes important not only that we identify what those spaces are, and as you pointed out, Chrishon, like continue to support those, but then even also those businesses, right? Those businesses that provide services or products that you are a fan of, like now is the time that it's time for us to stop pretending like we don't recognize one another. Like now is the time for us to openly acknowledge one another, whether it be through your words, whether it be through your actions, or whether it be through your financial support, right? Because that is how we can continue to thrive. It's like we are all earning money, but how often can that dollar circulate inside of our community? And admittedly, it may take a little more effort. And what do I mean by a little more effort? Like, I'll give you an example. One of the coffee that we drink every morning is Black and Bold. It's a Black-owned brand that makes delicious coffee. Turns out that they actually are carried at several Targets, right? Might not be as convenient as, the Quick Trip or something that's right up the street. You might have to make some effort and remember, okay, I get my coffee when I go to Target. You might have to be deliberate because it might not be mass distributed, but it's not like it's that heavy of a lift, right? And that is how we can continue to not only establish Black businesses, but build them and grow them, and so that they can thrive. And as that dollar starts to circulate in our community, then we can be the arbiters of our own destiny. Then we don't have to worry and rely on DEI. We don't have to rely on charity that, these organizations are giving out for PR reasons, even though we both know that that's not really what that was about. But just, we don't have to worry about that when we start to really figure out how to grow our own, right, and support our own, but it happens. It happens on the ground level, right? It happens on the ground level, and that is just something that we have to acknowledge. So if you guys are not familiar with Love Cork Screw, matter of fact, hold on, let me go ahead and make this very easy. I'm going to put this in the chat, right? So no matter what platform you are watching this from, you should be able to see it, boom, right now, and yeah, www.lovecorkscrew.com. If it is not carried locally, it probably is carried locally, so go to the website. If not, you can always have it ordered and shipped to you. But once again, Chrishon, man, thank you for just everything that you do, and this was a lot of fun. And man, until the next time, which will be next month, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said, This is something that we're doing, so we already know how it goes. So thank you, and I will talk to you later.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right, you guys. So before I go, okay, because one of the things that I just want to do real quick is I just want to put y'all on. I told you all in the past that we got merch. Okay, so new items are dropping sometimes weekly, definitely a couple of new items a month, but we got a couple of new items a week. But I want to show you one in particular. During the middle of the conversation, I was like, oh snap, I didn't even have it like queued up. So I just went on ahead because I had to grab a screenshot so that you all can see. I'm calling this the Inauguration Day Special, okay, because things are about to get a little loose, okay, and we need to be prepared, right? We need to be prepared. So I'm gonna just put this up and I'm gonna let y'all figure it out on your own, okay? I'm gonna let you figure it out on your own. Now, some of y'all might get it, some of you guys may not. I'm gonna give you all an opportunity, you know what I'm saying? This is one of those if you know, okay? But yeah, this is the type of time I'm on, okay? This is the type of time I'm on, because I do believe that in these next coming months and years, some people gonna be getting besides themselves, and there are gonna be times where you're gonna want to say it with your chest. You're gonna want to say it with your chest. So in those moments, hey, If you know what that means, first, two people to email Paul at thetequilatales.com with what that means. You get 2 hoodies on the house. Okay, 2 hoodies on the house, right? The first 2 people, you get a hoodie on the house. If you can tell me the hidden message, okay? But listen, y'all, for real. It's, as always, man, it was a pleasure. And yeah, like I said, every Tuesday, man, we're pulling up. If you want to be featured and you want to engage, you want to participate in the discussion, also feel free to send an email to info@thetequilatales.com, or you could just go to the website and you could just fill out the request form. And yeah, like I said, this is something that we're doing, man. So, as always, you guys, it's been a pleasure, and till the next time.